don't know, the sign is Subaru right there. You see it? Okay. There's not. Subaru just has what they have, right? Like you can see behind me, they got the new Crosstrek, which let me show you that. Let me show you the new Crosstrek. I do think they look cool. I mean, it's not necessarily my style, but remember I told you about the theme of everybody doing little off-road SUVs and things of that nature. Subaru has been doing this for decades, and they do it well, and their cars perform. So this is the new Crosstrek. I mean, this is a complete, I don't know what model this one is. This had, yep, that's right. It's a Subaru Wilderness model because it has these gold accents here on the roof rack, flares on there. I mean, this is a true off-road if you see the stance and how high and much ground clearance it has. And it's the size of like a normal hatchback. So if you look inside of here, large screen, similar to what they have on the WRX, and we'll check out that later. Subaru Wilderness on the headrest. That's nice to see. Steering wheel, gold accent on there. Rear area is simple, but Subaru is, their whole thing is people that do outdoorsy stuff. So you're going to see stuff like textured plastic right here, stuff that can handle a beating. You throwing muddy shoes and snowy shoes back there and throwing bikes in the rear. It can handle most of those things just because of how much, you know, they focus on that. See the fog lights on there, front end, rear accents on there. I do like the matte finish they put on the hood. It kind of gives it a little bit of an aggressive stance, aggressive front end on it. But I like the overall thing because you know what you're getting here. Like, this isn't like, you don't get a Crosstrek and tell yourself, I don't know what I was getting myself into. You know what you're buying. These are made to go off-road. They're made for the outdoors people. And it matches similar to like the Forester. So if you look at the Forester here, same package, bigger car, right? Crosstrek, smaller hatchback. That might be all you need as far as size, but if you need a little bit more space, that's where the Forester comes in. And if I show you the inside a little bit, there's a few changes when it comes to the dashboard area, like as far as the front top mount. This doesn't have the big LCD screen or LED screen that the Crosstrek had, but that is an option here. Same trim color, same headrest, same seats, a little bit of a difference on the center console. And because this is a Forester, you do get a few more options when it comes to the off-road capability with X mode. Now, before I say that, and I don't know what I'm talking about, let me go check the Crosstrek to make sure it doesn't have the same modes, because it might. And I was right. This doesn't have the same modes. It doesn't include that big of an X mode. This is still all-wheel drive, but it doesn't have that big of a feature set when it comes to the changes you can make on it. But the Forester is a more expensive car in their lineup. Then if you go from there, you can get into this EV they have, which if you look at it, you're like, that looks like that Toyota BZ4X. And that's exactly what this is. This is a Solterra, but this was based off of the same collaboration they did with Toyota. So it looks exactly the same. The interior, like I said before, I'm just not a big fan of this, but this is their EV and their first iteration of working with Toyota in order to create this. And so it looks the part. This is decent. It's nothing too crazy. If you come to the Houston Auto Show, they always have the love pets over in the Subaru section in case you want to look at puppies and convince yourself to try to get one. Here is Ascent, I believe. Yes, this is their larger full-size SUV. You see the running theme on the interior. Large screen on the center. Same steering wheel type design. Stitching. This one has like this green stitching with this dual gray and dark gray leather. Interesting. I don't know how much I like how that looks, but you get the captain's chairs. And if you've been paying attention to the videos I did on the other manufacturers, like when I did it on Toyota and Honda, you'll notice this is kind of like a running theme. Like, this stuff kind of starts looking the same, but you understand the competition. Like, these manufacturers are trying to find little fine-tuned differences. Subaru is known for their all-wheel drive capability, so people that don't want just a front-wheel drive or a half-time all-wheel drive type setup that maybe some of the other manufacturers have, they're going to come to Subaru because they need that and they live in a climate that warrants that. Now, behind me is the Outback. Now, my sister drives one of these, not this particular one, but similar to the Crosstrek that was over there and the Forester, the Outback all have the same Subaru Wilderness package. The Outback is like a larger version of the Crosstrek. Oh, this is a wagon, basically. The Forester would be a SUV, smaller SUV. The Crosstrek would be like a hatchback, and then this is going to be the full wagon size, which I like these a lot because I love wagons. But it's the same thing. You do get the larger screen in the center, the accents, the stitching on the seats when it comes to up here where it says Wilderness, up here at the top as well. So really the nice thing about Subaru and what they've done here is that you can decide what car fits your lifestyle and get the package on it as well. Now behind me is the new Impreza. I got a couple thoughts on this. I'm gonna get a little. That is the Impreza RS. That is basically, I had a Subaru WRX hatchback. This is supposed to be that return because it's based off the sedan. It looks a little bit better in person. They do try to give you a little bit of the wide fenders from the old WRX hatchback. And it's not terrible. It's not terrible. If you're in the market for a hatchback and you're looking at the Mazda 3, if you're looking at a Corolla, regular Corolla XSE hatchback, this could be an option. So you do get this nice, like red stitching, red cloth, two-tone on here, automatic, full screen. No, the steering wheel has like some stitching on it. It's not flat bottom, not like my GR Corolla is either. But it's a basic size and look. Doesn't look bad. But it's just not as exciting. There is bigger rear room seat than it looks like than in the GR Corolla and other hatchbacks. But I do like the fact that they match the same thing they did on the front seat to the rear seat. This is the rear area. Similar, you do get a sunroof option on the RS. And then you have the rear hatch option, which is a very, very usable, sizable amount of space. The GR Corolla does not have this much space, nor this much utility. And you think you have something under there? Yeah, that's where the spare tire would go. So it's a good overall package. See from the rear, Impreza. You're not going to get any you get like a little Fox diffuser down there, but you're not going to get any crazy exhaust pipes or anything. But I do appreciate them trying to at least give you a little bit of the flare on the rear. But it's just, here's what I'll say. The problem here is that it's just not that exciting. And I don't forget what horsepower this made, but it's not anything crazy. It doesn't have the motors in the WRX. So it's just missing a little bit of something. If it was truly a WRX hatchback, this would be a fire seller. And everybody would be trying to buy it because they would say that looks a little bit better. I like it. They may not necessarily like how the taillights might look in the rear there. But overall, it just doesn't personally excite me. But I can see it being a viable option if you're in that market for a specific type of hatchback that at least it's just something different, right? You're not just doing the normal Corolla or Civic hatchback. You're doing something a little bit different. But what Subaru and I have been going through, what I have talked about before, is their WRX, which is right there. Now, I thought about buying one of these before my GR Corolla showed up, before that was announced. It does look better in person, but I've already spoken on this on my TikTok. These black arches, it's just unnecessary. I know what they're trying to do. If you look around Subaru, except the Impreza doesn't have it, hilariously. But if you look at the Forester, if you look at all the cars, that flare on the outside arches is a common thing. But the WRX, though it is a Rally-esque bred car, just should not have had this. And on white, it does look a lot better than on that orange one they had. But even then, the best looking ones are the ones that paint the flares and try to clean up this giant rear bumper diffuser thing. And it did not have to look like this. But as I'm here, this might be I don't know if it's a GT model, but it's one of the higher trim models. You kind of get the fake carbon fiber right there. But the seats, look decent. It's not the GT, because the GT has a sport Recaros, which they didn't put it in this one. You do get a nice flat bottom steering wheel. There is a version of this car called the TR, that gives you the 6-pot Brembo brakes, the Recaros out of the GT, and it's a manual. They don't have that model here. That was them trying their best to bring forth what they would believe would be an STI without actually making an STI. So here you go. You already know a WRX. Manual, screen, sunroof, right up there. It's clean. It's clean for the interior. So that's truly, like I said before, the opinion on this car has always been the outside could have been substantially more aggressive and cleaner. But this is what they gave us. Aftermarket has responded well to it, at least when it comes to how it looks. And like I said, it is fairly wide. If you look at the way the arches and stuff look on the side, it's aggressive in that aspect, but it's just the outside just is missing. And then we have the BRZ, which just like the GR86, we're used to seeing this around, the exact same car, just with Subaru's nameplate on it. Subaru is the one that supplied the motor and the engine, so that's the BRZ. Like I said, Subaru has a small amount of stuff there, not a huge list of cars, but they got what they did. What they're known for is the Forester and the Outback and the WRX. That's really where people come from. I'm gonna keep it moving. Lexus was right next to Subaru, so I'm just gonna jump over to Lexus right here. I don't really, outside of one of the best looking coupes that they have on the market, which is the LC 500. I mean, this look at the wheels. Like that etched in right there on the, I mean, you can look at the interior. I mean, this is a Lexus. I mean, we are substantially jumped up in quality. This is leather. I don't have to question that on this car. But you see how this looks? Dash. This is a full luxury 2-door coupe. They also have big SUV. This is a LX 600. This is the size of basically a Sequoia or actually an old Land Cruiser. And this is huge. I mean, if you look at these, I mean, this is like a 90, 80,000. The two-tone red and black, it's okay, it's decent. I don't think I would necessarily want the two-tone on a luxury SUV like this, but it can look decent. However, the more important car here is probably this guy right here. This is the TX 500H. So this is based off of the Grand Highlander, a Lexus version of that. See the front end a little bit cleaned up with like gray slats in there. But this is the F Sport model. So F Sport blacks out wheels, paint, color match on the fender flares, TX in the rear. And then you also have, as far as the interior goes, this here. Clean, nice, large screen on the dashboard. Let me ask if it's okay to open this. Is it okay to, excuse me, is it okay to open the door on this?
If it's open, yes.
Okay. I just make sure real quick. I don't want to just open up a door and have them say like, yo, what are you doing, bro? What you think this is? And they think it's CarQuicks world? It's not. So here's the interior. Very similar to the Grand Highlander. Now the difference is, remember I told you about that piece that they had in the middle? Theirs is like a whole cubby hole. I guess this thing comes out. Or I guess, yeah, it can come off. I guess this can snap into place and you can have like a cubby there too. So that means if you were going to do this, you would have to do it in a way where you would move this whole entire seat forward in order to get to the rear. And the rear is the same amount of space. It's not a huge amount. It's not as much as a minivan or the Sienna, but it isn't terrible. So you're getting similar quality, similar car, but you're upping the leather, the soft touch on here. Like this is very nice, soft feeling leather. This is here, the way the door handle looks and everything as far as how the car is. And then here in the front as well. Similar dash, but large screen. You get center console here. You get storage right here in the center. You get a wireless charger. This is very similar to almost all the SUVs. The difference here is that you're going to get a higher quality. See on the dash, a little bit of Alcantara soft material. Same thing on the seats right here. you're going to get a better feel for the car, like as far as how the materials are on the inside and how they are when you're driving the car. So if you care about that and you want the quality and the reliability of Toyota, then that is where the TX 500 comes into play. And I actually do prefer that front end better. It's even cleaner as far as the gray slats on the front and a very boxy, off-roadish type looking flare. So I like it. Now, when they're done, I'm going to go over here, but that is the GX right there. That is the Lexus GX, which is based off the upcoming Toyota Land Cruiser. Now, they don't have a Land Cruiser here. I don't know why, but they have the Lexus GX here. And this is basically the resurgence of the whole Land Cruiser body. I talked about something, like I said, on my podcast, I talked about this whole entire thing. GX 550. V6 twin turbo, 479 foot-pounds of torque. This is true. Now this is really up my speed. Definitely like the boxiness, the flare. Look at this, nice. That is a massive screen. I think that might be the same size of the one that's on like the Toyota Tundra, but you see these controls, nice digital controls. They have them off right now, but that's for the HVAC system. But you see this digital there, wireless charger, storage right here. I mean, this is standard SUV fare. The difference is just in how the size and how this looks, because come here to the rear, very squared off size, space right here. I think there may be a third row option. I don't know if they will have that. Let's just jump to the back real quick, open this up. Opening up the rear, and there is what looks like, is this a third row? Oh, it is. Okay, so there is a third row, though I don't know if I'm missing the seat. But there's definitely something that's supposed to be happening there, because I don't know how you putting your cheeks on that. You ain't gonna be doing nothing. This back seat is a suggestion at the finest. So there goes that as far as the rear third row. But the point of this car is really, the point of the GX is definitely going to be the fact that it's the boxy, flared off Land Cruiser-esque ability of making an SUV, similar to what they have before. And I've talked about it. I've said it before. It's a big deal. That's the Lexus version of the Land Cruiser one. I like how it looks. I think it was dope. It's very square, round off. So like a luxury Wrangler, so to speak. Let me flip this around so you can see. So it's like luxury Wrangler as far as how it looks. Boxy, squared off. It looks good. I'll do a montage of this stuff later. But one last thing, here's a sedans, ES, the LS over there. There goes a RX, which I'm familiar with and you've seen before. There goes an RZ 450. This is their electric one. So the RZ 450 is Lexus's version of an electric version of the RX that's sitting over there. And I appreciate the front end on this one because there's only a simple grill at the bottom, probably to cool off things like coolant, AC, air vent going inside, and probably for the battery. But both of these front ends obviously look the same. This is just being an EV version. They changed up a few things on the inside, just a few. You do get, all this is high quality because we're talking about Lexus here. So Alcantara leather, white cream leather, large dash. It's going to be very similar to the dash that's inside of the regular RX, but you get an EV version. So let me go show you the regular RX. You see what I'm talking about. So regular RX, very similar, save for like on the door panel, we have a little bit of a design area at the top when it comes to how it looks, but overall this is exactly the same. As far as how it looks, this is an F Sport one, so you get a little bit of a more sporty look as far as how the seats go. F Sport on the dash, same thing there. You know, wireless charger, Android, Apple CarPlay. It's the same thing, right? This stuff is so similar that you'd have to go out of your way to not get in the car. And same with the rear. This is obviously not a third row. I don't think. I hope not, because goodness gracious, I don't know what we're doing back there. But that's that's Lexus. Their main thing is the TX 500. Almost dropped my TX 500 and the GX. Those are the ones that are like the big sellers. Now Nissan, and I was at the Lexus dealership. So if you don't know, let me flip it around so you can see. That is the Lexus dealership. Nissan doesn't have, I'm at the Nissan booth. I don't know how much they have. We do have a Z here. Are you familiar with the Nissan Z? 400 horsepower, twin turbo V6. I always love the blue color they put on the Nissan Z. And plenty of people have talked about it. There is no Nismo version here. You would think there'd be a Nismo one here, but there's not. But as far as the other Nissans they have, we have a Aria, which is their electric SUV. Aria there. Theirs is a known car they've had. And this person's talking to this person about it, but that's a full electric SUV. It looks like the Murano as far as the shape of it goes. And there's, I mean, you've probably seen a few of these floating around, but I do appreciate that the level of quality on the dashboard with that soft, looks like Alcantara. The screen kind of has like a squiggle line in it, right? As you can see it right here, better fall stitching right there. Seats are looking good. Leather, and it's full electric. If you look right here, I don't know if you can tell, but all the buttons on there are capacitive that are like etched into the wood. And then you have the gold trim there. So that's a cool feature, cool option. And I do like the color. Nissan does really good on their blue colors. That's one critique I can give is some of these manufacturers need to do a lot better when it comes to how the colors look. And then we have the regular trucks right here. Frontiers and Titans. I'm not a huge like Nissan truck person, unless we're talking about old school ones, but you got the Titan right here. Nissan Titan. This is a Pro ATX one, so more like an off-road package there. Then I believe over there is a Pathfinder. It was the same. It looks like another off-road package. That seems to be the growing theme here, is that there's an off-road package for like every single car. Rock Creek package there. So that's a growing thing. Keep on moving over here. We're gonna go over to Hyundai. I'm over at the Hyundai booth now. See that? Where am I? Hyundai. So there is not much here for Hyundai. I'm not gonna front. They did not bring the Ioniq 5N, which I thought they would, but they brought the Ioniq in general in a very bright colored Kona EV. This has got to be the brightest Hyundai you've seen. I don't necessarily know if I want to drive a Kona this bright, even if it's an EV one. I mean, that's just extra. And there goes the Ioniq 5N. Not the 5N, the Ioniq 5. Now, why is the 5N not here? I don't know. It's unfortunate. I thought it would be here, but it's not. And it should be. So, that is it for Hyundai. I mean, I can't really show you much as far as what they got going on as this Kona Electric. And, I mean, they don't have the redesigned Elantra in here. Hyundai, what are we doing? Kia had a bunch of stuff. We don't have the redesigned Elantra in. We don't have the new redesigned Elantra. We don't have the Ioniq 5N. We don't even have the one that's on the board right there. Where am I? Where's the board? Where's the board? Let me show you. They don't even have that car here. I mean, they have a little truck, Tucson and stuff like that. The Santa Fe. But, I mean, come on now. We got a Houston Texans one, but, you know, they out the playoffs, so that don't matter. All right, so I'm soon about to wrap this up and go check out a few other cars. Buick has cars here. I am flabbergasted, okay? Really. I'm not even gonna waste my time, okay? Buick has 2 cars here. That thing and the Enclave. I don't know what's going on. But GMC did bring their Hummer EV, so we're gonna check this out. This vehicle is most definitely locked. I'm sure I don't even know how much these things cost. But just think a lot. So this is the Hummer EV. I mean, it's aggressive. You've seen it. This is the SUV one. This is not the Hummer like truck one that came out first. I mean, it looks the part. As far as aggressive looking truck that's taking up the road, you can't go wrong with this. The front lights look dope when they turn all these things on. I mean, everything looks good. You got the big tow hangers there, not even tow hooks. There's just tow hangers. So, listen, it looks good. You can't be mad at it. It's definitely an off-road car. You're not going to confuse that with anything that's going to look that way. I like how it looks. Now, would I buy one necessarily? I don't know, but the SUV one looks a lot better than a truck as far as the proportions go. So, that is the Hummer EV. They're trying to see if it's open, but they locked this thing up. But this is going to be another crazy fast, gigantic, heavy SUV, 0 to 60 in like under 4 seconds, probably easy like 3. But I like how this looks. The proportions look better than the first Hummer truck. And I'm sure it's going to be a little bit cheaper, but it's huge. I don't know the range or anything like that. The range of it might be 200 miles, might be 300 miles, might be no miles. Here goes the Duramax AT4, big truck. I might do a montage on that. I'm going to pick certain cars. And they do have an electric car section called Evolve. So they bring all the EV cars out. So they have like the City of Houston's Fleet Share. They have a Porsche Taycan, which I don't think is open. They have the Volvo, what is that? That's the Polestar. All right, there you have it. That was a Houston Auto Show. It's small, a little small, but like I said before in my podcast, there are auto shows haven't been as big, though I argue, and if the Houston Auto Show sees this video, I argue that there should be a stronger push to make this show bigger. Because we live in a city that has grown exponentially. And there is more than enough market and market share that we should have one of the most premier auto shows in the entire country. From debuts to concept cars to brand ambassadors and product specialists, we should bar none be one of the biggest ones in the country. So it needs to get bigger. But overall, I always enjoy my time. My family's coming to meet me. I was doing my media press run here. And we're going to stay a couple more hours. I'll see y'all around. If you listen to the audio version of this, if I put it as a podcast episode, once again, thanks for joining. Do as you wish and do as you may. It's CarQuicks, your host. I'm out.